realize that's a scam.
Say bye-bye to Junkyard Dog. Here goes all his decals. Getting ready for Homer. That heat gun makes it nice, don't it?
Yeah, it does.
Well, he's gonna get Penny off there pretty quick. All right, guys, well, they're gonna go ahead and do the whole car, get all these stickers off. In the meantime, we've got our distributor and our coil in, so we're gonna get those put on, get this thing rolled over to top dead center so we can get all this set up. And then around here somewhere are the gauges. So just got these to slap on, just a cheap set of just gauges so we keep it on the oil, temp, and volts. And probably just gonna be honest with you, like I said the other day, just mount those up here on top of the dash, you know, kind of like right here in my teeth so I can see them. But anyway, this thing is really starting to come together. It's awesome. The girls got this side of the car, got all the decals stripped off. This actually burnt or ate through the paint and is actually permanent in the car now, which is pretty cool. So you know, if that hangs through, it hangs through. If not, we'll cover it over, it don't matter. We've got the new distributor in. I'm mounting the coil now, going through all this wiring mess. Getting ready to get me a set of gauges put in. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is I think I'm just gonna take and mount them right here. It's about the cleanest spot on the dash without a big crack in it. Mount them through here, drill them, run them in through. That way they're kind of like in my teeth so I can see what's going on. But I'm kind of liking there or here. Just something right in front of my face. But I think they're gonna work good there. So I think that's where I'm gonna mount them, and we'll figure out how to get everything from here to out there. Still gotta try to put some flooring here somehow. I mean, you know, they were getting the decals, what's left of them over here off. And then we'll get the rest of this cleaned up the best we can. But we're pecking away at it. This is gonna be a pretty short video today. I think it's just kind of a lot of technical stuff. Trying to get in here full with wiring, which I hate wiring more than anything. This is the starter wires. I've got all this ready, but I've lost the bolt to the starter, so I had to find it. But anyway, we're gonna keep moving on along here. Again, I've got the coil kind of just roughly set on there. I've got to find some of these filler bolts that go in the intake for holes that I'm not going to use. I also had to find those, which are up in the house in the office somewhere. It's hard telling where they're at. But anyway, trying to get this thing ready to fire. Got a little list of stuff I've got to get uptown. I got to get some tractor flaps for the exhaust and some other goofy stuff, but Homer's turning out amazing. Went ahead and got my red ground wire hooked up. Makes sense, right? But that's what I had, so that's what I'm going to use. I went ahead and got my water temp gauge hooked up. Got my oil pressure tubing, like the refrigerator tubing, hooked up. Got them both ran through the firewall to inside Homer. Oh, mercy. Got them kind of like tucked up underneath the dash. They run right up my steering column, right up here. I mean, I just needed them up here kind of in my teeth. It doesn't have to be pretty or anything like that. It's just a Burnout car. Maybe we'll get a little fancier with it later, but for now it's for purpose, not pretty, if that makes sense. So that's done. Gonna hook up my volts, get that ready real quick. And then we're gonna keep going. Just running out of time. But anyway, still waiting on my carb. So as soon as we get that ready, we'll get it on. Try to get this thing fired up. Got the distributor ready. Coil's just kind of flopping around over here. I haven't got it bolted down yet. You know, it's just kind of hanging here. It's gonna sit kind of like that when it's all said and done. But I'm missing 5 plugs for the intake. Now some of these are gonna be used for the superchargers and nitrous if we go with that range. But anyway, for now, we're just gonna plug all that for testing. Get the stacks put back on, and hopefully we can get this all go to fire up and check for oil pressure and temp. Get some heat on the engine. So that's going to be it. The girls went ahead and got the car completely stripped down today. Got all the old decals off so we can get this car re-wrapped. Of course, I've got 1,000 horsepower on the windshield, so we're good there. We're going to leave those. All right, guys, I went ahead and put in the plug set that we got here from Advance from Mr. Gasket. So anyhow, got all those put in. I went ahead and got my ignition just kind of generally just together here with a brand new battery. Again, I can't fire it off. I do not have a carburetor, but what I want to try to do is turn it over to see if my ignition's okay, to see if it's going to turn itself over, and maybe see if it'll build a little bit of oil pressure. And we're just going to give it a whirl and see what happens. This thing could explode, I don't know, but whatever happens is going to happen in front of everybody. If it turns over and builds a little bit of oil pressure, I'll be happy. Again, there's no fuel, nothing's hooked to this. There's no exhaust, no nothing. I just want to see if the motor is going to rotate over. Okay, we got smoke coming from the positive. Well, that's cool. At least it's running itself over. We got something going on here. This is burning pretty good. So yeah, even the ground's hot. So we got to figure out what's going on there. Woo, that's smoking hot. So anyway, we're just gonna keep playing with it. All right, guys, here's where we are right now. I got about as far as I can get with what I've got right now here in the shop. I'm still waiting on a carburetor. So hopefully that gets resolved here in the next day or so, and then we can button up everything here and actually do a fire on it. I went ahead and got the passenger side stack fully mounted. It's done, ready to go. I left this one off intentionally so I can get in here and work around and get the carburetor on and linkage and all that good stuff. So kind of just got the coil laying there for now, just for testing. Obviously the distributor's in. We're just gonna get the wires hooked up, get that done, but just waiting on the carburetor. So just kind of a recap. So I'm gonna leave this alone for now until I get the carb in. For now, we're gonna go ahead and do the brakes, get the car jacked up, get the new brakes that are on here off, go over there and get the Wilwoods off of the donor car, bring the Wilwoods over here, put them on Homer, get them bled, get them ready to go, and then essentially we're just ready to fire this up. Everything in here is ready to go. Might just make some panels yet for the floor, not really for sure on that, but got the gauges in, that's all done. Got my seat reupholstered, which is amazing. So hang tight, I'm gonna get you set up and we're gonna do these brakes real quick. All right, guys, let me show you what we got. Last year, right before Indy, I put brand new brakes on the front of this car. I mean, everything here is brand new. It's a shame we're just gonna go ahead and take them off, just putting up more new brakes on it, if that makes sense. But I've got those expensive old Wilwoods over there, and I'm not just gonna let those sit over there in the corner on the donor car. So we'll take these off, put them in a box, put them on the shelf, and keep them, because they'll fit just about any car we have here. And we'll slap them Wilwoods on real quick. And then at least we'll be done with this, and we're gonna have some killer stopping power. So awesome, hang tight. Beautiful day out there today on the farm, and we're gonna get working on Homer. All right, guys, I forgot about this. I was going to try to be ornery and not replace this line, but I forgot Wilwood gave me no choice but to change it because of this connection. I'll show you here in a second, but you know how this is. That is an absolute nightmare because 9 times out of 10 they break. Fortunately, it's just right here, so if it does, I can replace this with new brake line. It's not that big a deal. I wasn't expecting to do that, but if I got to, I got to. But I'll show you here on Wilwood brakes, they just like direct plug in right here for the brake fluid. So that line's definitely got to be changed, and then these braided lines will go in. So give me a few minutes. We'll find out if that's gonna break on us. I'm not for sure. I got a hammer here to kind of give my wrench a little bit of impact on there to see if I can break that loose. We're gonna find out. Well, that worked out like I thought it was going to. So this just turned into a bigger job. So yeah, that snapped plumb off. So we're gonna be redoing some brake line. Fun. So we'll be coming back up into here somewhere. So we're in the soup now. So add that on the list. So let me go ahead and get all this off here, and we're gonna have to redo some brake line. All right, guys, I got all the Wilwood brakes off of the donor car over here for Homer now. So we're gonna start off fresh and get all this built back up. Like I said a second ago, I did break that brake line, which is fine. We'll go ahead and make a piece to fit that, no big deal. So let me go ahead and get all this put together. It should bolt right back up to here and get this done. As you can see, I had everything super greasy, so clean that up, get it all re-greased back up and put it back on. Got this cleaned up for the most part, so hang tight. Boom. All right, so we got the new Wilwood brakes on the front, on the driver's side. All set up, greased up, ready to go. Calipers all hooked up, brakes are in. New braided supply line is up, hooked to the frame rail. So this is done. So now what we're gonna do is cut this brake line roughly here-ish, make a new piece, fold it up in and around, and connect it to the supply line. Now it's probably not gonna be factory pretty, no, but it'll be functional, right? Functional over shiny right now. I've got some like 50 foot of that copper brake line around here somewhere with some couplers. Just gotta find it. All right, guys, just kind of a little tech tip type thing. If you don't have one of these, they are literally handier in the shirt pocket when you're doing brake line work. Just a little tubing cutter, and you can get these things in here and just work all kinds of magic with them, especially in tight spots. I can't remember where I got this one. Most of my tools come from Hobo Freight, so that's probably where I got it. But anyway, these are awesome for brake line work. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this cut. I've actually got a piece of OEM brake line there with the fittings on it already. So I'm gonna see if it'll match up to that new line. If that's the case, I'm just gonna get a socket. I've actually got a tubing bender, but you can do the same thing with a socket and just kind of make me a piece in right here. A lot of people say don't do it. Don't use couplers, don't use couplers. Well, I use couplers. That's just, I've always done it. I've never had a problem with it. My luck, I will this time. Follow, as usual, follow manufacturer recommendations. I have to say that, but I do what works for me in my shop. Any trouble? This thing is so old. All right, just like downtown. Guys, these things are old, like for real. I've had these things probably 15 years, and they're not lubed up like they should be, or even taken care of like they should be. So I just have to take a pair of old channel locks and tighten them up a little bit. But anyway, they still done the purpose. So now I'm just gonna go ahead, take that steel line and match this up, put it right back on there. All right, guys, so here's my old piece that I cut off. You can see that. So then I tried it with that steel piece, and forget about that, I got copper. So I just took, and this stuff you can move it around with a socket. It's really malleable, you can actually use your hands. So what I've done is just made this piece here, made my flare. I'll try to get that in where you can see it. So got my new flare made. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this and put, well, let me get this pulled down. All right, go ahead and put this in my new braided steel line, run this up, and then take this coupler, which I know a lot of people say, don't do, but I do it, and couple the two brake lines together, and boom, this is fixed. Again, follow manufacturer's recommendations. This is just a burnout car, so it's irrelevant for me. I'm just gonna put a coupler on it and be done with it. Could you possibly hold that hose back for a minute?
I can't reach it.
I don't know. Get this light that's been in here for a month out of the way. See if I can get my... So this is gonna have to be bent up like so. So I think I'll try to bend this. So what I love about copper, man, it is so malleable. You can do whatever you want with it. All right, we're cooking with Crisco now, by God. It's the real champ in that battle. I'm kinking down without kinking, like so. Get this. This is gonna have to go about right there to mount back. So I need to get this other nut and ferrule on. A nut, ferrule. All right, that's bottomed all the way home. Alright, I already tightened that one up beforehand, but I'll check it anyway. I mean, you got to use the biggest possible wrench you got. Okay, so I take this, remount that there, and we should be good. I mean, we're nowhere close to where the factory had it, but hey, it's a brake line. Well, that's good enough for my house. So, all right, guys, cool. So this side is done until we go to use the brakes and this blows out and we get fluid everywhere, but we'll tackle that when we get there. So I'm gonna move over to that side and get it done. Hang tight. All right, guys, we've got the passenger side done now. All new Wilwood brakes. Same old situation though, is the brake line broke on me. The only difference between this side and the driver's side, and any of you that are Chrysler owners know that this is gonna turn, go down, wrap under the back side of the frame rail, run along the inside of the frame rail, up the firewall, over to the booster. So this repair is gonna be a little more difficult because the brake line is gonna be right up there. So it's gonna connect right up here on the firewall. Excuse me, I should have, to be honest, done this before I put this motor in here, but you get complacent, you get lazy, you just like, I'll fix it later. And then when it goes to break, and then you're like, now I ain't got no room. So it's one dozen, one half of the other. So now I've got to get a brake line all the way over there to fix that. So I'm going to get that done. And granted, it's not going to be pretty, but it's going to work. So I guess let's get after that. Get that done. And then we're still waiting on the carburetor. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and pull this trans pan, put a new screen, change the fluid, go through it real good. Go ahead and check my universal joints, get back here and check that rear end, get all that straightened out before we go to try to give this thing its first rip. Because I want to get it broken, let it get under temp, see how it does before we go too crazy with it. Because Bradenton's right around the corner. So I guess in the meantime, let me figure this mess out and I'll check back with you guys here shortly and we'll go from there. All right, very cool. Hang tight. All right, guys, we got this cut off. Just took the old Jiffy cutters back here. Cut it off back here on the frame rail. So I'm gonna get this piece drug out, or ripped out, or however I can get it out of there. Now, I'm not gonna run it back the same way. I'm gonna come up over around this lip on the fender well and straight down on the hose, just like on the driver's side. Get all this jazz here. 'Cause again, this is just a burnout car. I'm not doing this for a concourse or anything like that, but I'm gonna get this thing out of here. Yeah, that's seen better days for sure. So we're done with that. So same as the other side, I'm gonna go over and get a piece of new copper line. I'm gonna connect it into the hose, run it up over this lip inside the inner fender, straight over and connect it into there. And then we're gonna get these things, try to get them bled down and get done with this brake job for good. Then we're gonna start working on other things. Because again, like I've said a dozen times, we're still waiting on the carb, so I can't do nothing that way. So we're gonna work on other things that we need to get done. And then once the carburetor gets here, we'll do what we can to fire it up. So, all right guys, appreciate you hanging out with us. Let's get after it. All right guys, went ahead and got this side straightened out. Just ran a new brake line up over the fender well, like I said, back in and connected to it where it goes over the firewall, back into the proportioning valve. I wasn't going through all that jazz just to get it out of the frame rail and factory. That's good enough for a burnout car. That's where it's gonna stay. I'm gonna put another support here to kind of help hold it still, but that'll work for us. So essentially the Wilwood brake installation is complete. It is done. We got both sides in, ready to go. So we're gonna get those bled down. Again, we're just waiting on a couple things here. We'll get ready to fire this up. So on the next episode, we're gonna go ahead and get the transmission tore apart, get it gone through, go through the universal joints, go through the rear end, get that gone through, straightened out. Hopefully by then have the carb, get everything put back together, straighten some wiring, and fire this. Do a little bit of warm up, check it out, take him out, ride him around, maybe do a little test burnout, and then go from there. So everybody that's kind of jumped in on for this journey, we appreciate you. Welcome to the channel. The girls are getting everything cleaned up, ready to go. So we'll see you all here in Florida in 3 weeks. If not, catch us next weekend for another new episode, because we won't be here before long. We're getting cousin Clyde off the trailer, getting him in here. He will be going right there now because the donor car is getting all packed up, wrapped up, put over here in the corner, and that's where it'll stay in case we need it. And we've got another channel car coming. So you'll see that here very soon. So keep posted for that. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.